Hello everyone, my name is Christian. Welcome back to Tekpon. Today our guest is Andrei, the paid ads manager at SenseHR. Hello.
Hi Christian, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Please tell us what is SenseHR.
So SenseHR, it's an HR management software built by people who have experience in both HR and software development. And this is actually their fifth product built so far. It's not their first one. Every time they built a better and better one. So that's why they always dominated the market, because they had a background in the niche. So pretty much in June, this is what will happen with SenseHR as well. They will most likely dominate the market.
What are the older products that they built?
They built Simply Personnel, they built PeopleHR.com. PeopleHR was the latest one, and it was acquired by a bigger group called the Access Group from UK. The transaction is confidential, but we suspect it was quite big, given that PeopleHR at that moment of acquiring, they got around 15 million of pounds in annual recurring revenue. Most of it coming from Google Ads, and most of it coming from UK.
Okay, that's awesome. And what is the biggest problem that SenseHR solves?
Well, the thing is, all these HR management softwares in time, they become obsolete, outdated, and each of these new products try to overcome that. For example, SenseHR tackles a thing that's not really tackled in many other HR products, even the biggest names in the industry, like the remote work or part-time working. Most of it is focused to have employees like full-time, and that's it. No remote work, no nothing in any other software. So this is just one of them. But mainly, they try to replace pen and paper and Excel sheets, and SenseHR will actually teach where it's localized. Like for example, in UK or US, it will teach the HR manager how to do their job in also an HR perspective, and also in the legal perspective, like what contracts should you issue and everything like that around that topic. You know.
So these are the main use cases: HR and legal, right?
Yeah. Well, it's mostly HR management, but it also includes a lot of legal approaches in it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And what are the best features? Some interesting features that they have.
Well, they always built an expenses module, which is so easy to use for the employee, because most employees using an HR software, they don't really like using an app like that on their phone. But SenseHR's app, so far from the beta testing, it's very well received by the employees, and they actually use it. Like if you have expenses, you just can scan your receipts and everything with the app on your phone, and they just go to your manager to approval, to have all your expenses done like with a phone. You don't need anything else. You don't need to log in anywhere else in a website or something, or from your office computer or so on. It's really easy to use. Plus, also one feature that the employees love is the holiday booking, because everyone loves booking holidays, so they can book it easily within the app. Aside of that, they have like a full transparency over their employee account, like how many holiday days they have left in that year, how many they took, how many were approved or not, anything HR related, or like asking for a file from the company to claim that they work in there. It's all done very easily through SenseHR.
Understand. And how competitive is the HR management space?
It's one of the most competitive ones in the world.
I know. Yeah.
It's actually, from my perspective, Google Ads and mainly search platforms. It's, I think, the second one after legal in the amount of CPCs. Like easily in UK, you can pay for the keyword HR software like £50 per click.
Wow.
Which is still profitable, to be honest, because there's a not huge, but quite big average order value of a few thousands every year. So if you do everything correctly, you get a lot of ROI out of those £50 per click. It's not a niche where you have something like 3,000 clicks per day on a keyword. If you get 100 in the entire account on like 30 keywords, that's amazing every day, But with the former company, they had people HR. We got to spend like 30, 40, even 60,000 pounds every month in Google Ads search only. But we got over 120 booked meetings every week. So when an agency come and they said they offered 5 booked meetings every month for like 5,000 pounds, I told them for half the price I can give them 5 booked meetings if they want. It's it's very competitive. It's only in UK I think there are like 200 HR softwares, big and small.
Oh.
That's not without considering the big US names like Bamboo HR or ADP or anyone else. It's just the smaller ones that are like 200 at least, just in UK, and they're all over the world. Yeah.
Wow. And when did you join the company?
SenseHR, well, I joined it last month on the 23rd of March, I believe. With People HR, I was from like 8 years, 2013 until 2021, when they sold it to the Access Group.
Well, and can you tell us your whole backstory? So how you started your career?
Oh, I started my career by accident, to be honest.
How so?
Well, I was a techie my entire life. I was the first private person probably to have a computer in my hometown. And I liked it. I was curious. Then I started to disassemble it and everything. Then I started to try to reassemble it back, and you can imagine that was like 1995 or something like this. And there was no internet, mostly in the world, and it was hard. I learned everything from some manuals of my first computer, which were in German, and I didn't know German, and so so it was another challenge. And I was a tech my entire life. But then that got me and my best friend in high school to build internet cafes from scratch. We bought components. We assembled entire internet cafes in like 1 or 2 days. Everything was set up, and we loved it. At some point I ended up in this US company that built a branch in Bucharest in Romania. They were called Sister Systems. They were building DVD duplicators. They were very popular at that point in USA. Then they moved to USB sticks duplicator and so on. So the US branch of Sister Systems said, look, our guys are going to Google to learn something that they will launch, which is called Google Ads, and we will want to do that. Who in Romania offers or volunteers to learn it? And I was like, yeah, okay, let's learn something new once again. So I don't even remember the exact year of that, but I think there are at least 20 years since then. And it wasn't like a full-time job, I was doing it for Sister for a while. Then I went to other companies. I went to an e-store called 24PC. I did a bit of everything in there as well, like support, sales, Google Ads, all of that. And at some point I got into what was called Avangate, and then was called To Checkout, and now it's called Verifone. A company built in Romania, who grew really, really big. And in there, it was my first full-time job in Google Ads. And it was very good for me because I started full-time with an international approach, with teams all over the world, advertising not just in my country, advertising all over the globe with different campaigns based on different, on cultural differences between countries and continents and so on. So it was quite exciting, but as you probably may know, the paycheck in Romania is not that big. So I started looking for a side project. So I got to a freelancing platform, and I just saw a project. I applied to it, and it was this guy from UK who said, "I'm building this HR software. It's not my first one, and I need someone." At first, I needed part-time, so he offered me for like 1 or 2 hours every day. He offered me the same amount of money I was getting from a full-time job.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, yeah, that's nice. And he was very honest with me from the start, with everything, very transparent with everything. I mean, my first paycheck from him was the second day after we talked. Like, he paid me always in advance. And then we started working. At some point he said, I see you don't like your full-time job too much anymore. Don't you want me to make an offer and you can work with us remotely from Romania? And I said, yeah, okay, make me the offer. I told my wife, if they give me 10% over what I get here in the full-time job, yeah, I'm going. And he offered me something like double and a half or something like this with my salary. So I was like, yes, please. I would like to work remotely. And here I am working remotely since 2013. And yeah, he liked it because he told me years after that because I'm Romanian, he has this farm in Italy. He looked for a farm manager for many years. It's the kind of farm that's producing milk and dairy products and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And he found a Romanian guy like 15 years ago who is still the manager of his farm. So he somehow trust built in his mind about Romanian people. And he said, yeah, you look cool, you're Romanian. And I know Romanian people work really, really hard and they do a good job all the time. So now I was in this point with them working remotely for like 8 years. Then they were acquired by the bigger company.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously I had to do something because I have 2 kids. I had to feed them on a daily basis. So
absolutely.
Yeah, and I started looking for jobs or something, and he told me, he actually, the founder of People HR, he actually mentored me in creating my own website and have my own customers and all that. And he supported me like that for like 6 months, pushing me to have my own customers and not to put all my eggs in one basket anymore. No? And it was really good. It's okay. But I needed something more stable. I don't know. I mean, I still have it. I have my first employee working there, and I looked for a job. I found Lanturia. Actually, Lanturia found me. Lanturia was built in Ukraine, and it was sold by the founders to a person from US who moved to Barcelona. And some other investors. So he told me, I used People HR in the past and I so loved the ads and everything, the entire path, how I found it and how the product was really, really good and actually the cheapest on the market. It has all the pluses. And I want to do the same with Lanturia. And he told me, I was looking for you for like 3 months on LinkedIn.
Wow.
Yeah, okay. I was like, yeah. The bad thing with Lanturia was, it lasted for some months, and during this time, this guy, the CEO, and the investors, they tried to raise some funding, and they didn't succeed. So that's why the marketing adventure in Lanturia actually ended. They will have to focus more on sales now, since they don't have much budget for that. So, it's no hard feeling or something. I totally understand it. And then the founder of People HR, he told me, this is destiny. Like 2 days after I quit Lanturia, he told me, this is destiny. Do you want to work with us full time now? We have 2 projects. And the funny thing, SenseTech, their second product, it's actually having the development in Timișoara in Romania. He built an entire company there for SenseTech. So hardware and software mostly software is built there. Hardware is built in Canada and UK, I believe. So yeah, here I am again.
Yeah, that's a fascinating story. So long, but you explained it so well. And
Sorry.
No, it's great. It's great. I really enjoyed it. Yeah, and you said you have your own agency. When did you start it? What year?
In 2021, in the summer, when Access Group, the company that bought People HR, they had to keep every employee. For like 1 year, and after 1 year they said they have their own employees and they laid off almost everyone. Pretty much like how it's happening now with Twitter, Google, and others.
Yeah.
And but on a lower scale. So at that point I had to find my own customers. So yeah, that's 2021. In reality, I had small projects over the years, but not something that consistent as it is right now. No. The good thing is we don't work like agencies, and all my customers are running away from most agencies who have 2 employees and they want to run with 300 customers. And you cannot do that, maybe they can in e-commerce and others, but in B2B SaaS where I focus, you cannot do that. You have to be there every day. That's how People HR grew, and their entire growth over 8 years, it's there's nothing a step back or something. It's always growing, but you have to dedicate time, hours every day. And by myself, I cannot keep more than like 5 customers at a time. I simply cannot work. I have to sleep, otherwise I die. You know? So that's why it is like a different type of agency. It's one that's eating a lot of time, but it's successful because it's hard to work with less clicks volumes than very big click volumes. Like I had this customer having 5,000 clicks per campaign per day. It was very easy to test anything every day, you know, almost. But in here, when you get 3,000 clicks in a month, it's and you have to make money out of those. So
so now you choose your own customers, and you have your peace of mind. Not trying to.
Mostly they choose me somehow, and it's because of that. Because they tried with an agency that's focused on e-commerce, and they know B2C, and they have no idea about B2B and how long it can take. For example, for HR software, the bigger the customer is, the longer it will take to sign the deal. I saw in people HR deals or leads that came today, and they signed a deal 1 year later. It took 1 year because it has to go through a lot of demos with a lot of teams and like 25 approvals of different managers. It was really a big company. It was TNT UK, the delivery company. They have like 9,000 employees in UK, but it took exactly 1 year.
Wow!
And the bigger the customer, the harder it is to get all the approvals. And you can imagine each manager had to convince another manager to buy a solution. That's why we also built guides for that. How to convince your manager to invest in an HR software. It was very useful. You know.
Yeah, that's super smart. That's a great takeaway.
It's actually another reason why people HR grew. It was because Google Ads was bringing good leads, but it started to really grow when I had to take over the marketing department, and we started weekly meetings between sales, marketing, support, product, everything. Each department was discussing with marketing. And that was the first time when we found out what actually the salespeople who were facing the customers or the prospects actually need. It wasn't what we thought they will need. You know? And when support, they had this really, really good lady running support, and she was amazing. She created like a target response time. It was like in the fireman station or something, you know. It was response time under 1 minute all the time to any support ticket, and not automated response or something. No, to respond in person under 1 minute. Well, of course, that was just in UK because they couldn't work 24/7, but that got us like 300 something reviews of 5 stars in all the major platforms like G2 and all the Gartner Group ones, Capterra, Software Advice. Because we asked those people that interacted with support and left a rating of amazing on Intercom, we asked them for reviews. In exchange of Amazon voucher or whatever we did in that month, a draw for an iPad or something. But we got in a few months 300 something 5-star reviews anywhere. So it was pretty amazing to work with other departments as well. And I think that was the key. And that's the key to growing a B2B SaaS business. To have all these clog wheels work together like an entire mechanism. Otherwise, if you have very good product, a very good pricing, you are the best on the market, but you don't have support, you can close the business. Just put the lock on and that's it. It won't work. It may work 1 year or something. It will not work forever.
That's super insightful. So putting all those departments together. Wow.
Sorry, I'm talking too much.
No. I love the value. It's incredible. I wanted to ask you, why are you so passionate about B2B SaaS?
Well, to be honest, I don't really like e-commerce because probably there are too many doing that already, and working in the same company for so many years doing just that, I kind of like it. It's actually a big challenge, to work, as I said, with lower volume is harder, even though you have maybe bigger budgets or something every month, but you have a lower traffic volume, you have a lower pool of possible customers out there, and at some point you won't be able to grow it past that point. It's like you said, just in UK you have, let's say, 6 million of companies. You cannot make 6 million in one sales. you don't have where to do that, and everything is tight, and it should work like with Swiss precision, and otherwise it won't work. Probably it's I don't know, it's the game or something. I love the game, it's challenging, very challenging.
What has been your biggest challenge throughout the years?
Working with founders.
Yeah, why?
Working with founders because with the founders I work with, we had regular calls, and when I say regular, I say daily calls of like 1 hour. Of course, not always just business. We talk politics and everything, but the biggest challenge is to make a founder who is not very aware on how these ad platforms work understand that what you do now will have an impact, and what kind of impact will have in the future, near or far away future. So you have to educate them, because they don't know how I know or how you know all this. They don't know that if I add a negative keyword, when someone searches for something related to the negative keyword, his ad will not show, or that a competitor in Google Ads is not necessarily a business competitor. They just bid on the same keywords, but they may sell something totally different. Or why is it better sometimes to be on the second position in search ads, for example?
Well,
because it's on the first ad everyone clicks by instinct. It's the first one click, you read, oh, it's not what I need, you click back, and from the second ad down below you read everything.
Makes sense.
So the first guy is getting the biggest bill from Google, while the other guys are getting the leads. On the same thing, I spent like 1 year to convince the founder of InfluenceR to use Bing ads, and he was like, nobody uses Bing ads. And I did some reverse engineering to show him who uses Bing ads. Technology companies that are having laptops from Microsoft, with Microsoft Windows, they have a security so tight. They have ISO certification and all that, and their security is so tight they are not even allowed to replace the default search browser, which is Bing. Those companies are pure leads for an HR software, So yeah, Bing ads works like the volume is like 10% of what Google offers, at most 10%.
Yeah,
but really cheap leads. If a lead was costing, like 3 years ago, it was costing £50, or £100 for Google, for HR software. In Bing, it was like £5.
wow.
So really cheap compared to Google. Right now, they do a lot of changes, and it is not that cheap anymore, but it's not Google expensive either. So it's still good to use it. Well, if it's a B2B SaaS, and I don't know, if that niche fits your product type or a product niche, yeah, it's a very good channel. So convincing someone today to invest in Bing ads is really one of the biggest challenges I have to do. Yeah,
that's wow. I never thought about that. So, but now it makes a lot of sense.
Me neither. I had to do reverse engineering. And so yeah, it's good to ask people from time to time.
How do you stay up to date with the latest insights?
Oh, I'm like an avid consumer of news. Like for search ads, I have Search Engine Journal and all these other publications, very well known from outside. Newsletters. I go to events sometimes. Sometimes I'm invited in some events. I met a lot of nice guys like Brad Geddes or Larry Kim, and they're really nice guys outside of the web, And yeah, mostly I read a lot. I started with podcasts quite recent. I was listening to podcasts, just not a marketing podcast. It was my way of disconnecting from the niche, And but recently I discovered your podcast. I discovered other podcasts as well. I can't remember right now where I heard Ross Simmons a few times. I saw him live, and I saw him on YouTube quite often lately, because he's like social media focused for B2B and it's good to find stuff. Plus, obviously, Google mails me a lot like they should do, and I I probably found the only good support guy in Google that actually has news and beta programs and all that for me and my customers. For example, I had the Gmail ads feature activated in the People HR account like 6 months before they launched it. So it was working really well. He said it's like a very close beta, like 1% of the advertisers got it. And I was lucky to get it, and it was working really well. When it was widely available, no conversion at all, nothing. It just spent money. But when just 1% of the people had it, it was working really nice, like £1 leads or something like this. I never saw that ever again in Google.
How crucial do you think it is to stay up to date?
Oh, it's
in your niche.
In my niche, it is. It makes a difference between being employed or unemployed, or being on business or not. Because I'm thinking of Google Ads. Few years ago, it was every agency in the world was using SKAGs, single keyword ad groups. So you create a campaign which has a lot of ad groups, and normally Google says you can put up to 15 keywords in one ad group. Agencies did one keyword per ad group and created an ad optimized for that keyword. So it was getting a very high quality score from Google. So the cheapest CPC and the top positions and all that. And if you're not up to date and you still use that, and I still saw agencies doing that, well, that's not working anymore because Google changed the matching system and everything, and they changed the ad types, first of all. The ad type is not as it was before, expanded text ad. It's a responsive search ads, which has multiple headlines, multiple description lines, and it mixes them based on what people are searching for. And now you have to focus on a keyword theme to have in the ad group, not just one single keyword. And if you're not up to date and you don't know that, you will say, "Oh, Google is not working anymore." I saw that from business founders. We tried Google Ads, but it didn't work for us. But how you did it? And the replies were either we used an agency, but we didn't really like what they did, or I tried it myself and I put up some ads and some keywords in there, and it didn't work. You just spent a lot of money and nothing, no lead. And I'm like, would you let me explain where you were wrong? And if they agree to that, they are usually amazed of what Google can do. But you have to do it adapted for a B2B SaaS product, or service. Otherwise, you'll do just e-commerce, like you just create performance max campaigns and just throw them there. Come on, Google, spend money, and that's it. And they will say, "Oh, we just got volume." I had this awesome customer from USA. Well, actually, the CMO of there, he was also a CMO in Avangate when I was working there. That's how I got to work with him again. And they had an agency from USA who spent like $60,000 every month on Google Ads for 6 months. They got a lot of top of the funnel campaigns built in there, like download guides, on-demand webinars, a lot of top of the funnel materials created in there. They got like 400 to 1,000 conversions every month. It's also a B2B SaaS, and it's a very advanced and very expensive product. And I was like, wow, a lot of conversions. I don't know if I can beat that. And then I asked them, but how many live demos did you actually got from this? And he says, in 6 months and almost $500,000 spent, 0.
Wow. How so?
0 demos. And he said, I don't know, people just download the guides or they watch the webinars and they never come back. What?
Yeah.
And right now we're working to build them a middle and bottom of the funnel strategy as well.
Okay.
Not just, they just give materials to people and they just let them leave. They are not even going into an audience or something. You can use it. That top of the funnel audience, you can push it to a middle of the funnel or something. They didn't do anything like that. Just top of the funnel. Download guys. We'll brag we got 1,000 downloads that month from Google Ads, which brought us 0 money.
Yeah.
That's the biggest challenge, actually. Sorry. The biggest challenge is to bring money back. I have to spend money, but I also have to bring money back. Yeah, sorry.
Makes sense. What other mistakes do SaaS companies make when they start doing Google Ads?
Oh, yeah. One of the biggest ones that I saw is that, and it's probably a very popular topic right now with all the ChatGPT fuzz. It's they rely too much on Google's AI. For example, bidding strategies. We tested that in People HR every year. We had like 1 month when we started their automated or AI or smart or whatever they changed the name to, bidding strategies. The longest time was when Access Group bought People HR and they insisted to test it for 6 months. And the result was we got half of the conversions in amount of conversions. We tripled the cost per conversion compared to manual bidding. So yeah, they don't do manual bidding. Smart bidding strategy is very good when you have a very big traffic volume, like some hundreds at least of thousands of clicks every day. It may work well if you have e-commerce. You can track how much a customer paid. You cannot do that in a SaaS business. In most of them are having the pricing based on amount of employees per month. So in any HR software, it's like you pay £1 per employee per month. It's quite hard to make that dynamic and trackable inside Google Ads. So you cannot set a target return on ad spend or something like this, to know that this is how much the deal will bring you. This unique deal will bring you £2,000. You don't know that in that stage. They are in a very early stage when they come from Google Ads. So it's quite hard to do that. And most people, they rely on the automated bidding, and that's it. They just set and forget it. That's how it's called, set and forget. They just set the campaigns, let it run, and that's it. And it's not good. I tested it every year. Sure, Google made progresses. It got better and better every year. To be honest, I used a Performance Max campaign for a customer from US, also B2B SaaS. Something like an alternative of Gleam.io that's used to create contests and all that, and giveaways and others. And they used the PMax campaign with a lot of assets added, like YouTube videos, images, everything. It worked fantastically well. But for search, for Google Ads search, it's nearly impossible to beat manual bidding with an automated bidding strategy, because the volume is just that low usually. Yeah. So yeah, that's the biggest one I saw all the time.
And in your opinion, how should a SaaS B2B SaaS company start doing paid ads? Should they hire an expert? Should they hire an agency? Should they do it themselves?
Well, if they have a bit of experience, if they did it before for a B2B SaaS, they can do it themselves. The founders usually, all the startups, they don't have a big budget or something to pay someone. I'd rather get, but I'm biased here because I do that for a living. But the advantage of getting someone that did it before is you don't get to learn on your own expense, because it's a costly platform. It can ruin your budget in a few clicks. I saw people not adding the comma after $10.00 for the $10.00, and they bidded $1,000 per click. And in 3 clicks, they spent $3,000, which was their budget for the entire month. So it can happen like that. Sorry.
Wow.
That's why if you want to avoid mistakes and you don't want to learn on your own expense, probably they don't have budget for a full-time person at first, but they can get someone on an hourly basis, or like have a contract, like set up, manage, report it every week or something like this. You don't need someone full-time for Google Ads. When you get to the size of Avangate and you have $300,000 per month budget, yeah, then you need someone full-time. Otherwise, if you want to spend a few thousands per month, you need someone like on a part-time basis. You don't need a full-time. Sure, if you get funding, you can get someone, but not all the businesses are getting funded properly. So,
yeah, what are the future trends that you see in paid ads, in Google Ads in the future? As you said, the AI is a buzz, and
yeah, they try to involve it more and more. It feels in the past years that Google is, on one hand, that Google is trying to make the advertisers spend more money, because they changed even the matching system. Exact match is not really exact match anymore. It's like the phrase match used to be a few years ago. They removed metrics like average position. They removed all these things that were very useful before. They changed the ad types. They try to involve actually the AI more and more. Even when you do manual bidding, you can use some audiences in there that can actually, okay, it's manual bidding, but you can show it in a better spot to someone that's belonging to a certain audience. They do that now, and they didn't do it a few years ago, and it feels like they push the AI into more into depth into Google Ads. It's not necessarily a bad thing, and I don't think AI will steal anyone's jobs. They will complete it, somehow. I saw a business, to be honest, while I was prospecting for customers called Copy.ai.
Okay.
And I think it's the first best use case of ChatGPT, because the guy that founded that, it's a copywriter. He hired 11 other copywriters, and they use I don't know which of these AI from OpenAI, but I believe now they use ChatGPT. So you basically can go there and order a piece of content, a blog post or whatever. And those 11 people, plus the founder, they do all that through ChatGPT, and then they take that bulk text and rewrite it. So it will be unique content. And that's a basis of like $1 million per month on the average. They do $1 million per month with Copy.ai using the AI, and they do that since like last year or 2 years ago already. So they are not really new, but it's working. So see, it's just, instead of having 120 copywriters, they are 12. That's all, But most likely that will happen with Google Ads as well. We will train more on how to play the AI's algorithm, because that's what's happening right now. You need to be on the better spots all the time. It's the same with SEO. You need to play the algorithm. So we'll probably get better at that, at playing the AI algorithm as well.
Yeah, I have one last question for you. What are your favorite SaaS products that you used throughout the years?
I've been a beta tester for a lot of products that are very good these days, like Unbounce for creating landing pages. I was among the first 10, I believe. And I know Oli Gardner before he was popular. And what else? I also have been in Hotjar, which I found like, this is sorcery or something to watch someone what they are doing in your website. And so I loved it, and I still use it in most of the products. It is really good. Hotjar, Unbounce. What else do I use on a daily basis? Well, the Google ones that I have to, like analytics. I like analytics a lot. I used other analytics products, and maybe they are more in depth. But this one, I don't know. It feels like even if you're stupid, you can get a conclusion on what's happening on your business through analytics. If it's tracked correctly, that's another problem. And one particular cool thing that I like, it's a plugin for CRMs. It's called GA Connector. It was built by some guys in Ukraine that did this in their company, and then they said, we can sell that. And they built their own company on that. It's actually adding some hidden fields on any form, and it's tracking all your data. And while for an e-commerce it may be, analytics can do that. For a B2B SaaS, that's a crucial product, because at the end of the year or after a few months, you can track how much money the keyword HR software brought to you. So it's not just keyword in Google Ads, it's actually search term, what people actually search for. And you see that in the CRM, although the data, what they search for the first time, for the last time, everything. So I think that's one of the coolest products I saw that solves a real SaaS issue. Because they said it can take even 1 year to sign a customer, and you just you are lost in there. You simply cannot match what they searched for 1 year ago, unless you track it with something like this. And it's really, I found it just genius. A guy that had a problem and he solved it, and then he solved the fix to others as well. Is really really nice to have.
Yeah. Is there anything else that you want to tell us today on the podcast?
I don't have anything else, to be honest. Just if you're a B2B SaaS business, even if you don't work with me, look for someone that did it before on that niche, not someone that did Google Ads for e-commerce. Look for someone that does Google Ads for B2B and SaaS, and that understands the difference. Because to be honest, so it's like the same. It's like a template every time. We work with a company and they didn't do much. The funniest story I heard from someone that ran from an agency, or big agency actually. He said everything was created, campaigns created, everything. And after 2 months, he gave them a call saying, look, my traffic didn't move. It's the same traffic like 2 months ago. And someone in the big agency forgot to start the campaigns for 2 months.
Wow.
Yeah. And he said, that's how I found people run away from some agencies, especially the big ones, because the small guys like me, we really try to make it work, The big ones, they don't really care. They have a few people that are working, and they have more people in sales to replace those customers every month. So it's it's natural to happen like that,
Yeah.
But it became like a template over the years. Yeah. So it's funny when you think about it. It's not funny to beat those customers. For me, it's funny.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining. I'm super grateful, and thank you for your insights.
Thank you as well for having me on your podcast. Have a great day.